Last night, by the way, school board meeting, District 186 met again, as they do every Monday, and they discussed many topics, one of which, of course, is the superintendent, the search for a superintendent, which continues. And after that happens, I always like to check in with the person who was supposed to be heading up the search for superintendent. He keeps telling them this is what we ought to do, and then they have to vote for it, and blah, 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 blah. School board member Scott McFarland joining us on the Ray Lytle Show. Hello, school board member McFarland. Welcome.
Hello, Ray. How are you doing?
So last night, there was a little superintendent discussion at the school board meeting. You announced that you were going to go from your discussions with where the public gets a chance for hearings is going to be extended. Is that correct?
That's right. We were originally looking for a day, and the board decided that we wanted to go for 2 days to allow some more time for each of those focus groups meetings. So we're putting together a schedule right now that will have quite a few focus group opportunities and open meetings that are going to happen here in the last week of August. We're going to set a time and date shortly, so we'll get that out as soon as we can, but we're working on it now.
Who's going to be heading those meetings?
That's going to be run by the search firm.
So the search firm will be heading the focus group meetings?
Correct. The
search firm that you guys finally voted to hire, they're the ones that are going to be heading the meetings. Judith Johnson last night had some things to say. In fact, one of the things about you, she said that she regretted voting to hire the firm, School Exec Connect, because she said the bulk of the work had been done by you and not the firm. Was that a compliment?
I'll take any compliment I can get, but
was it true? And was it true?
No. What's happening right now is we're on a set timeline that we figured out with Exec Connect, and that timeline right now is setting up those focus groups and the open meetings, which they really can't do anyway, because they're not going to know the community like we do. So it's our job right now, and mainly it's staff working. I can't take any of much of the credit at all. But staff working to get together those focus groups. And when we say focus groups, we mean community organizations, parents, teachers, administrators, support staff, students. The list goes on. So we're trying to get a great many people together, and it's going to come out to be several hundred people together, and so we're working on that right now. As soon as we get those scheduled, that's when Exec Connect comes in and runs the show. So if we were a few more months in, and they weren't as involved, I'd be concerned too. But with the timeline we have right now, it's going the way I anticipated, which is right by me.
Scott, and I'm talking to Scott McFarland, school board member, when does Exec Connect actually start pouring through resumes and interviewing actual candidates?
Sure. How this is going to work is the application is already online. So anyone can be applying right now, and I think we're around 8 applicants, and we haven't even marketed the position yet. So how this is going to work is in September we're going to have a national marketing in some professional magazines online to draw applicants. The focus groups are going to meet, that's last week of August, and they're going to give input on what the community wants to see in the next superintendent. What will happen then is Exec Connect will take all that information. They'll also meet with all of the board members individually and as a group to get our ideas as well. And then they'll start weeding through all those applications in the end of September. We're expecting anywhere between 70 to 100 applications. They're going to weed that down to about 15. They'll then vet those 15, do some background checking, and that will bring us to about 7. The 7 will interview as a school board, and we'll narrow it down to about 2 or 3. And those will be our finalists. We'll have those list of finalists probably early December. And then we'll do some more community hearings, get to know those finalists, probably have them tour some schools, and then we'll make a final decision hopefully sometime in December. So we'll have a superintendent picked before the end of the year. Now, when that superintendent starts working will depend on their current employment. So if they're already under a contract that goes until July 1 of next year, we're probably not going to see him here full time until July 1.
Would you be looking to hire somebody that is unavailable?
Well, they would be available at a certain time. So we're planning on July 1 as the latest date to have somebody sat. And I really think if we have to wait 6 months to get the best candidate, I'm okay with that. Now, if we get lucky and we have somebody who's the best candidate and they can start January 1, then we'll have them start January 1.
You, the meetings that they're having, all right, the focus groups, yes. The focus group, they'll take the information they get from the community and the focus groups, and they'll use that in the interview process, or the weeding out of people to get to an interview.
A little bit of both, I'm thinking. What's going to happen first is, because you have so many applicants, they're going to use that information they get from the community to kind of weed that out. So if the community says, we really want somebody who looks like this, who does this and has this experience, well, then that helps them weed down that list of applicants. And I'm sure that will also be involved in their reference checking and interviewing to make sure that these people do line up with what we're looking for to bring into Springfield. So it's going to be one of those where it's going to be throughout the process, we're going to be taking that information that we get from the community and using it, which is why it's really important that everyone takes part in this process. There's going to be, again, focus groups that will be specific to certain areas of the city and certain populations, but then there's going to be open meetings where anyone and everyone can show up and say their piece.
Speaking of people showing up to the meetings, Ward 2, Springfield Ward 2 Alderman Gail Simpson showed up last night, and she was at the school board meeting, and she brought up an interesting question. She asked if the dropout rate could improve if the program regarding capital area, sending kids to capital area, CACC, Capital Area Career Center, if we could improve the dropout rate by utilizing that more, I guess, is that a good way to put it?
Yeah,
or making it available to children earlier.
Sure, I think she was spot on. You want to get these kids early and get them focused on what they want to do, whether it be going to college or going into a trade or going into technical school or whatever. Currently, CACC is juniors and seniors. So if we could look at expanding the program, that'd be great.
One of the things she said is, or one of the things that came up last night was the kids at junior year have already determined if they're going to leave, if they're going to drop out or not.
Mm-hmm.
So by letting them go in freshman, sophomore year, we would catch them before the determination of dropout happens. Why don't we currently allow freshmen and sophomore to do things like Capital Area Career Center?
Well, part of it is just size and funding of the center. It's a conglomerate of several school districts, and actually Springfield, our eligible student population, makes up about 41% of the eligible population throughout the county and all the school districts that are involved. But we send 50% of the population that goes there. So we're getting a pretty good bang for our buck right now already. But if there was a way to fund it more, to open up more classes, to get more teachers in there, I think it'd be a great idea. For those skilled classes, it costs us less to send the students there and get the education than it would be to have specific classes in our high schools. So it makes perfect sense, and I like the idea of expanding it. We just need to be able to afford to do it.
So you're saying that if we offered the kids, if we offered children like instead of going to like their regular high schools, instead of going to the regular schools that they go to, if we had a school that they could go to that, I don't know, maybe could prepare them for college or prepare them for a career, if there was a specialized school to do that it would help the children and lower the dropout rates. And CACC could be that.
Yeah, and what we got to keep in mind, too, we're not actually staying the kids away from their home schools. So a Springfield student is still a Springfield student. They just may spend a certain hours out of the day or out of the week over at CACC getting specialized classes. They're still a Springfield or a Lanphier or a Southeast student. But, yeah, I think if you give them more opportunities to hone in on the skills that they enjoy and that they want to learn about, they're going to be more involved in their own education. We learned when we received the report yesterday that 90% of the students that go to CACC complete their activities there. That means they want to be there, and they're enjoying being there, and they're getting something out of it. So if we can expand it, I'm, again, all for it. The problem is paying for the expansion. So right now we do have a good program for juniors and seniors, and that's one of those areas where we need to look into seeing if we can do more.
So the research would show that if we give kids, the opportunity, they'll go and they'll prepare themselves for a future. Maybe kids that want to go to college.
It's the same as taking an AP class to get courses in college.
If they have college potential, wouldn't it be something if we had like a specialized school that could prepare them for college? Like, I don't know, maybe a college preparatory academy or something.
Good call.
Maybe if we developed a school like that in Springfield.
Fundamentally, what it comes down to, Ray, is we need to look at how we fund education, period. Since I joined the board, I've seen millions and millions and millions of dollars of cuts to our budget. And it's not because our kids are underperforming. It's not because our teachers aren't great. It's because the state isn't reimbursing as much as it used to. It's reduced it by about 15%, our actual payment from the state. And property values have, ebbed and flowed like everything else. So we've had to reduce the budget to match that. We need to figure out as a city how we want to fund our schools. If we want to continue to fund the way they are, we're going to have good years and lean years, and right now we're in lean years. And we're not going to be able to do some of those better projects that we'd like to. That being said, I wish, in the terms of CCPA, it would have remained open. I think that would have been the right call, but unfortunately, I was overruled on that.
So if we're not going to have that, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to increase the amount of kids that can go to CACC.
Yeah, we're talking about two different populations there, too.
I know that. I understand that, but still, we are the money we're saving by closing the preparatory academy. Couldn't it be used for something like increasing the amount of kids that could go to Capital Area Career Center?
Potentially. We would have to work with them to figure out if they have the space and the facilities and the teachers to cover that. We pay a lump sum based on our school population. Obviously, we're the largest district in play, so we pay the most, about 41%. And then we also pay a tuition for each of our students that goes over there. So if we did send more students and they could take them, we would have to pay a bit more in terms of tuition. So we would have to figure out how to afford that. Unfortunately, again, we're going to be looking at budget reductions this year too. So it takes a lot of support from the community to do what we need to do. I think shutting down schools, moving kids around to schools that they're not familiar with is not the right option. The right option is getting the community involved, deciding that we can do better for our kids and doing better for our kids. But it comes down to the bottom line, unfortunately.
I got one more question for you before I let you go. And I know this isn't your department, and we're working on this for tomorrow's show. Barb's trying to line up an athletic director for one of the schools to join us. But the IHSA yesterday said that high schools in Illinois must offer catastrophic insurance coverage for student athletes. Mm-hmm. And this is a bill that Governor Quinn signed into law on Sunday. Now, I'm a former high school athlete, and I understand the need for this. How is that going to affect, and I don't even know if this would be something that you would know, how are the Springfield schools reacting to this?
I haven't heard yet. I don't know if our insurance already covers that or not. If it doesn't already cover it, then we'll have to look at the law and see how we do cover it. I'm sure if that is the case and we have to expand our insurance coverage, we're going to be discussing that with the budget and everything else coming forth here in the next few weeks to a few months, but we haven't discussed it yet.
Is that an individual school decision, or does that come through the school board?
That would be through the school board and the school district.
Because I'm going to be, heads up, this is something we're going to cover on tomorrow's show. If you can get me an answer, I'd really appreciate it.
I'll look around and see what I can do. It's definitely something that's on my mind. We just haven't discussed it as a full board yet.
Because we love football in Springfield. We love football. We love basketball. We love baseball. We love track. The IHSA is saying we got to get this coverage. Anyway, Scott McFarland, school board member. I thank you for being on. You're always the best guest. Thank you, Scott.
I need to get some frequent flyer miles for the track.
Listen, you're the only school board member with the guts to come on, so we always appreciate it.
I'll always answer the phone.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. All right, Ray Lytle Show. More in a moment.